District Facebook page? Push the Littlestown?
No, this is
It must be a district page, just got a logo all over.
Oh, you mean push?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Guaranteed it's a district page. Push.
It's got district, the logos all over it.
Meet the fellowship?
The meeting will come to order. This is a meeting of the Littlestown Area Board of School Directors. This is a live in-person meeting taking place in the public in accordance with such command. By attending or commenting publicly in this meeting, you consent to the recording, retention, of future meeting minutes. Gary, would you please call the roll?
Stephen Yerger.
Here.
Chanel Ressler. Here. Mary Brenneman. Here. Nick Lovell.
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We now recognize members of the public who have signed up to provide comment as stipulated in policy 903. When your name is called, please approach the podium and state your name, confirm you are a resident or taxpayer in the district, and your topic of discussion for the record. Please direct your comments to the board as a whole, not to an individual. We ask that you limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. The privilege to speak may be interrupted, revoked, or a recess of the meeting may be called by the chair if the speaker does not observe reasonable decorum and orderly conduct. Thank you. Bradley Keeper.
Appreciate it. So good evening. My name is Bradley Keeper. I'm a resident and taxpayer in Littlestown area. Appreciate the chance to speak here this evening. Keep my comments focused for this committee on some curriculum and policy. So first, artificial intelligence. Our students are already using AI tools at various levels. Sometimes it helps them learn, sometimes it crosses into cheating. And right now the district does not appear to have a clear district-wide policy or academic standard that explains what appropriate AI use looks like by grade level. That leaves students confused, teachers unsupported, and academic integrity inconsistent from classroom to classroom. As a business manager, I can tell you that AI will be a normal tool in the future, and I want my Littlestown graduate future employees to understand how to effectively use it, how to responsibly execute it, how to verify it, and how to disclose it properly. And when students are not taught how to maintain that responsibly, then it creates issues for us as future employers. So I'm asking this committee to prioritize an AI policy and curriculum framework that does 3 things. Define permitted and prohibited use by grade band, teach AI literacy as part of instruction, and require students to be transparent about when they use AI. Second topic that will be covered in this meeting today is the student health needs as they relate to the policy that you're all proposing. So we have students with diabetes, but we also have students with other serious medical concerns. Field trips and school activities should be accessible to them in a safe and predictable way. Today, when nursing coverages are not available, parents are forced to take off of work or forced to have their child left behind. I lived that situation personally, and it feels weird telling my son that he can't go on a field trip because the school can't afford to hire a nurse at a rate that is competitive. So I'm asking this committee to review and tighten the district's field trip and health support policies, which seems to be absent right now in the plan that you're going to talk about, so that families know what the plan is when a nurse cannot attend. There should be defined backup process and trained coverage communicated early enough so it's not the few days before the field trip. So I'm called to provide that coverage because, again, the nurse called out or we don't have one. So there needs to be a process for that as it relates to the serious medical conditions. And I'll add it plainly, if the root issue is staffing shortages, we could solve a lot of this by actually paying nurses and health support staff fairly and competitively, so that way they want to work within the school district. Safety and inclusion for children that have medical conditions should not lead them to be penalized in field trips. The third concern is not related to tonight's committee, but something that I wanted to follow up on a previous board meeting, which was the concern about a threat that was made at the elementary school that the board had no awareness of. I understand this is not part of tonight's agenda, and I'm not asking for private details. In fact, I don't really care about the private details. What I do care about is the clarity on process and status. What's the district standard for following up when threats occur? How families are informed in responsible ways? And what supports are in place for the students afterward, even if they're not directly involved, but kids talk, right? So even if this committee is not the final home for this discussion, I'm asking that the board provide a clear update based off of a previous meeting, so that way we can have a clear understanding as parents in the community of what the process is, because clear process builds trust, which seems to be lacking at times at multiple levels within this district. Thank you for your time. I'm happy to support the work however I can if you have follow-ups.
Suzanne Johnson.
My name is Suzanne Johnson, and as a district parent and taxpayer, I've repeatedly shared my concerns about student proficiency scores. Our PSSA scores have been declining for over a decade, leading to our district having the lowest scores in the county for 2024. And our middle school scores were so low, the state required targeted support and improvement plans for both the special education and general education students. I've taken a look at the 2025 versus 2024 PSSA data, and I would like to congratulate the middle school teachers and students on their efforts to improve their ELA and math PSSA scores. There were improvements in all but the 7th grade math proficiency scores. However, there's more work to be done when less than half of our middle school students are proficient in ELA, and only 20 to 30% of them are proficient in math. I would also like to congratulate the elementary school teachers and students on their efforts to improve their ELA and PSSA scores. There were improvements in all but the 5th grade ELA proficiency scores. Again, there's more work to be done when less than 40% of our 5th grade students are proficient in ELA, and only about 30% of them are proficient in math. As I've said before, I've been frustrated with the slow implementation of the science of reading methods. Since I moved to this district 4 or 5 years ago, I've been advocating for implementing these evidence-based literacy instruction methods with fidelity. My understanding is that all kindergarten through 2nd grade teachers have finally received letters training. That's just the tip of the iceberg though, a brief introduction. They need a lot more. Of course, kids that were in kindergarten when this whole process started are now in 4th grade and taking their PSSAs without the benefit of that essential science of reading base. To quote Dr. Steve Dykstra, a renowned expert in literacy and child development, the school that's on a slow road to better instruction is sacrificing another year of children. Please stop telling us just to give us more time. Switching gears, before the board set their 2025 meeting schedule, I urged you to avoid scheduling meetings for the 2nd and 4th Tuesday of the month so that people don't have to choose between attending a school board meeting and Littlestown council meetings like tonight, when this meeting is conflicting with a critical borough council meeting to discuss community feedback on the 2026 budget. Both of high concern to me. I have to choose one, that's not right. So I'm going to renew my request as you draft your 2026 school board meeting schedule. Please avoid scheduling any school board meetings for the 2nd and 4th Tuesday of the month. For example, if like you did this year, the December committee meeting needs to be the last week of November in 2026, then don't schedule it on Tuesday, November 24th when the council's meeting. Maybe put it on Monday, the 23rd. You know, and there's other days in the week. Finally, I want to express my appreciation to all the teachers meeting with families this week. I had great conversations with my child's teacher at the high school, teachers at the high school, and I appreciate all they're doing to work with my student in order to ensure her success. Heading into Thanksgiving, these wonderful teachers and building administration and staff are certainly on my gratitude list. And just to put a plug in for the LHS teachers, if you donate to Minithon this by, I think, December 4th, you know, we get to dye their hair. So, you know, putting a plug in for that, because that sounds really exciting. Anyway, so they're good sports too, so I want to appreciate them for those teachers that have agreed to that. Anyway, have a good Thanksgiving. Thank you.
All right, Dr. Zering.
So Mr. Moran is joining us this evening. We would like to present to this committee they've been doing some vetting, so Mr. Moran, and then we also have a video from Mr. Powell, who you've met, that's been doing some work with all the building levels, really, with the steels implementation. So they're going to present some information, some research that they have done in order for us to start a pilot in the spring here, or right after the holiday break, Christmas break, so that we can start really taking a look at this resource to see if it's going to work. Mr. Moran.
So you give a handout to everybody. Okay, just want to make sure. So a little bit of the references, the handout as we speak in the video. So just to pick up there with Dr. Berryman. So at the elementary level, we're trying to focus on our science in relation to the new requirements that skills has presented for us. And we have, as Dr. Berryman said, we've got a group of teachers, administrators, along with Mr. Powell, who's working day-to-day with their staff at the elementary and middle school. We have went through several things, and we've been exploring a lot of different options. We're trying to really see what's out there in our past practice, our current practice, and the final today will be about our future practice as well. So I know Ms. Bowman's got a video that Mr. Powell, who I've been working closely with at the elementary level, he's going to talk a little bit about what we would refer to our early stages. There's about a 2.5-minute video for us to watch. He unfortunately could not be here. He's in a medical situation that prevents him from being able. He's okay, everything's good, but we recorded the video ahead of time because he was not going to be able to physically be here.
Hi everyone, this is Brett Powell, physics teacher at the high school. I've also been working with elementary science. So, the state of Pennsylvania has implemented new steel standards for science, and these new standards do represent a pretty significant shift in what our standards previously used to look like for science. So that, by definition, requires us to shift our instruction and our curriculum at the elementary level for science. There's a new PSSA in 5th grade for science based on these steel standards. So what we did last year was a team of teachers in grades 3 through 5, along with administration and myself, began looking at what we currently have for science and seeing if it can be continue to be used, if it could be adapted, or if it needed to be kind of rewritten entirely to meet these new steel standards. That process was really difficult and time-consuming, and we came to the realization after trying to do it on our own, basically, that there is already curriculum out there that meets these new standards. So rather than trying to come up with something, we should utilize something that the experts have created. So we looked into and vetted a bunch of different curriculum and resources. So some of the comprehensive curriculum options that we vetted were Mystery Science, Open Science, Twig Science, and the Science Penguin. And then some curricular resources that we vetted were Lego Science and Science A to Z. So that's just some of the options that we looked into, the ones that were at least made it beyond the initial glance, but there were many, many others as well. So that was really the early stages of our process in implementing these new steel standards.
Okay, perfect. So to pick up there where Mr. Powell's talking, so we have been exploring a lot of different options to see what is out there, what are other school districts doing, because the timeline of the transition to skills is here upon us. So we've been busy last year and continuing that work over the summer into this year. And when you look at, and if you look at my handout, I sort of break there with 2024-25, really a research phase, and now we're really looking specifically and digging into the curriculum and the resources. If you look to the right there, you can see the first three that has K-5 mentioned there. So they are K-5 curriculums, and so Mystery Science, Open Science, and Twig Science. And Twig Science is also K-8, so it can extend into middle school if we choose to become that path. The middle column there, the science one really only targets grades 3 through 5. And then the far right column, really the RES, which is short for resources. So they're not full-fledged curriculums, but resources that would be available to support the standards and to support some of the content that we would be required to do. And that's the Lego Science and the Science A to Z. Really what we're after here is, as we have explored this and really went back and forth as a team, as a committee, we're ready to move forward to explore a little deeper into one of those areas, because we're seeing some positive feedback. So the goal here tonight is really, as Dr. Harriman said earlier, we're here to ask you guys to give us an opportunity to look further into our mystery science curriculum that's centered around K-5 and the Lego Science resource that would be available to help support some of our lab exploration activities as well. Why we're choosing to venture down that path first is we do believe from our research and what we see is that it is aligned to what the skills expectation is as we move it forward. One thing that was super important to me is that we needed a comprehensive K-5. So we needed to have that consistency that would go across the grade bands for our students and for our teachers. Obviously, cost always plays a role in any decision that we make. Mystery Science is willing to grant our teachers access to that full curriculum at no cost to the district. Again, our research indicates that this is cost effective, because again, one of the challenges as we look through any resource or any program is it sustainable financially for us? And we have a responsibility to do that. One of the other reasons there, when you look to the far right, we really feel like our early exploration of mystery science is very organized, it's well put together. They do create these, what they call supply kits, that are sort of structured by different units and lessons. And again, a little bit of what that's important, that goes into the lab component, the hands-on piece, that's already set up and designed in the curriculum. Sort of what I call one-stop shop, where it allows us to very efficiently and effectively work with that. There's a good reputation. We know that there are other schools within our area that are using those, are using the mystery science. And our early exploration with it is it does appear to be user-friendly, both for our teachers and to our students as we've begun that process of looking at that. One of the nice things that comes with that is as we continue to look at that, our goal is to really solidify our future with our science curriculum. And I know most of the focus at the elementary level has been math and science, or excuse me, math and ELA as a consistent. That's not unusual for any school district, but it's time for us now to be able to put science in that same level of focus and attention. And this is a great opportunity to create a solid foundation in our skills. Some of our next steps that we're trying to proceed and go to is we want to continue to work with Mr. L., Mr. Lockwood, our STEM teacher, and that's a little bit of a connection into some of the mystery science, but also with that Lego resource, where he's going to be picking up some of the standards and information to connect it again to what we have to teach and create that vitality to what is he sharing and presenting with our students versus what our teachers are doing. So again, that goes to that instructional planning piece that we continue to want to do. The Lego resource we see as a great possibility as we head into the second half of our school year. We haven't had an opportunity to explore too deep into that yet, but we believe, based on our research, that will be something that will be super beneficial to us. And then again, our goal here is to really focus on our 4-5 students here this year. As that was communicated earlier, that PSSA has transitioned to 5th grade, so focus on our 4th, 5th grade with the consistency in science instruction. And then we're working to share any knowledge, information, and resources we have with our 3rd grade teachers to keep them in that same conversation. Right now, from a time standpoint, our 3rd grade students are not getting as much science instruction as our 4th and 5th grade. we're in the process of working through that and building a better schedule that will allow them to get access to that information. And then the backwards by design piece really is, as we focus on our 3, 4, 5 grade level students, it's now been pushing them back to grade 2, then back to grade 1, and back to kindergarten students, rather than doing the opposite stuff in kindergarten and move over that. We really want to start to go backwards and make sure we're getting into our second grade students and our first grade students over the next couple of years. We are spending a lot of time in monthly meetings, weekly meetings, discussing that as a team. We feel the feedback that we're receiving about the mystery science. It's flexible. We're hoping to pick a few units to explore, pilot, and to try to enhance as we go through the second half of the year to really hone into what mystery science can provide us. Their early indicators are that it's very interactive for our students. Students are responding very positively to the information that they've seen at this point, as well as our staff. So we want to be able to now move forward and continue to build on some of that positive energy that we have. Really important to us is the budget piece. We have things that we discuss in our district, but we hold that at the highest regards. We want our budget